Showtime at the Apollo Dome, and she paint the perfect picture, telling stories up in all the jokes. You don't really want the drama, bro, cause Mabel cool, Mayday nice, Mayday want all the smoke. Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem, Mayday, mayhem.
This is strictly a review. Please do not take any and all commentary seriously. This is just a review of a show. Thank you, and Mayday Mayhem. Ew. Thank you for tuning in to another episode review of American Gods. But before we start with our episode review, this is a loving memory review. Also for Clarice Leachman. She was a phenomenal actress, and she will be missed. As we start the episode, it always starts with symbolic symbolism. And we start with the tales of the slave trade and how the African people were taken from their homes and tribes and brought to the new land, which would be the Americans. And how not only the Americans profited off of the hard work and diligence of the slaves, but they stripped them, tried to strip them of who their knowledge was, of whom they were. But they couldn't do that. As they took the African people from their tribes, they also brought the African gods with them. Thus comes the Orishans. They feel what we feel, and they hear what we hear. When we are thirsty, they will feed us. They will quench our thirst. When we bleed, they will give us back from the earth. When we are hurt and our children are crying, they will kiss our tears away. They are the Orishans. And they are the African gods. So, as the story starts, it talks about how the Orishans are the gods of the African people and how they truly were brought to America. And this is what I love about American Gods. They put in so much symbolism. So, as we proceed, we will see more symbolism. Now, as we move on from the Orishans and where they came from in their true African heritage, we cut back to Media, Tech Boy, and Shadow Moon. And Shadow Moon is ready to tell Tech Boy a new asshole. Why is that? Because he think he did something to Belquist. He's like, where is he? But Tech Boy, Media, is looking for Belquist also. She fucked him up. When she touched him, she projected some type of virus upon him. So he is looking for her also. And as Shadow is commencing to try to pummel Media to a crumble, he sees that there's something wrong with him. As Media is about to get his bottom handed to him by Shadow Moon, he sees a phone and he finds out that Yeah, Belquist has absorbed, well, looking for the pretty much the quote unquote tech dude. He was a very good, well, very esteemed colleague. He was a very important man. And they found his phone, and his family has been looking for him. And with him being the man of whom he is, they came and got Belquist. And he actually sees and shows Shadow Moon what happens. So now him and Shadow is pretty much on a quest to find Belquist and who has her and where she is. Then we cut back to Belquist to find that yes, she is locked up. She is alive and she is praying and she is praying and she is continuously praying, and they're asking her where is Sanders, and she's like, she's not saying anything. Then we cut back to, of course, there's some kids with their grandfather, and they're pretty much looking around, and they see that a crypt is open, and they find Mad Sweetney body with the ashes of Laura Moon. And it kind of pretty much cuts back into Laura Moon, where she is in purgatory. You know, she's pretty much trying to figure out herself in purgatory and how she can get out of there, or when will she get out of there. And, you know, she sees a older woman and she's talking to the older woman, and she pretty much has flashbacks about Sweetney. And she asks the woman, have you seen, you know, a man like this? And the woman pretty much asks her in the sense, well, who is this guy that you're talking about? You know, you're into the bad boys? And she pretty much looks at the woman after she's had so many glimpses and flashbacks about him, and says, he's actually the guy that killed me. Which is true, because if we go back to the others, you know that Sweetney was pretty much told by Wednesday to kill her so he could get close to Shadow, which is Wednesday's child. But yeah. So that's what happened there. She's trying to figure out if maybe Sweetney is with her, maybe somewhere in purgatory. While she's trying to figure out, you know, where he is, Wednesday is trying to concoct a plot to get into the facility where his bride is. He's trying to get to the facility where she is, and he can't get in. Him and his sidekick has pretty much figured out that the doctor has money elsewhere, and he's trying to get in there, and he needs to get to his computer. He's thinking Shadow is going to help him, and Shadow is like, no, he's pretty much trying to, you know, find Belquist. That's what they're pretty much on, him and media. They're really trying to find Belquist. And as they're trying to find Belquist, they scare the shit out of Sanders's daughter's little assistant. And like I said, even as Wednesday is calling for Shadow, it's so much trickery in here. 21 numbers. What's 3 times 7? 21. You guys, it's an awesome show. You really need to get into it. However, Wednesday tries to get in touch with Shadow, and Shadow's like, no, I'm in the middle of something. I am trying to find Belquist. So Media and Shadow is pretty much playing good cop, bad cop. And as they're doing that, they get what they want by scaring the living shit out of the security detail. And they pretty much end up telling where Belquist is. So they're on their way trying to get to Belquist. That is their initial journey. They're trying to get to her, you know, to get her out of harm's way, to find out where she is. So Media, aka Tech Boy, can get his shit back together, and Shadow can find out what's going on with his dreams. That's why he needs Belquist. Now, as we know, Mr. World has become Miss World, and has been quite stunning, I might say, quite stunning. But Miss World knows that something is awry. She's asking her little minions, where is Sanders? You know, where is he? We can't get in touch with him. And, you know, they said, well, he got missing out of a call girl's house and this, that, and the third. And so Miss World pulls up the screen and finds out that it's Belquist. And she's like, for fuck's sake, are you serious? She should have known. So Miss World knows what she must do in order to get Belquist out this jam. She knows she must turn into whom? No other than Mr. World himself. And as she looks into the screen and turns into Mr. World, he does his little spin and he walks to the elevator and he does his little cool, suave, debonair spin. And as he turns and gets on the elevator and looks, he said, my, aren't I handsome? And yes, you are Mr. World. When I saw him, I went, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. When I saw Mr. World in that TV screen, I went ape shit. Not gonna lie to y'all. So, as we see Mr. World comes back, we go back to the sanctuary, the tomb where they have taken Sweetney's body out, and the director on the graveyard has told, you know, the custodian of the cemetery to clean up the area because there was a lot of blood there. So Sweetney's blood is on the ground along with Laura Moon's ashes, not to mention the bottle that was given to her by the voodoo priest. And Laura Moon, at the same time that the janitor, the custodian on the cemetery grounds, is cleaning up where Sweetney's blood is and her ashes is, he's using water. She's walking through purgatory listening for a song that that she heard her father going on behind the closed door, like bum 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 bum. So she sees the purgatory guide and she's talking to him, asking him about the song. And as she's speaking to him, you know, she's talking to him. And as she's speaking to him, Sweetney blood and her blood and water mix. And as it mixes and swirls, she is zooped out of purgatory and instantly transformed and put right back into the tomb. and she's back alive. Yes, Laura Moon is alive again, alive and well. And not only that, her blood is mixed with Sweetney's blood. So that's gotta be something. But she wakes up, and the graveyard attendant, he's like, whoa. He helps her. He gives her a warm blanket. He tells her that Sweetney's ashes, he's been cremated. She finds the coin, and she figures out that she was not able to bring him back to life. Before we can see what happens with Laura Moon, Wednesday is at a bar trying to recruit someone to pretty much break into the doctor's house. But Johan, which is the band that was with, that got slaughtered. 4 of his bandmates were killed in a hotel. And Johan, which is played by Marilyn Manson, is at the bar acting a plumb dumb fool. He busting people over the head with beer, with bottles. I mean, like Jack Daniel bottles. Them bitches is thick. But he popping people over the head with bottles. They about to plug some holes in that ass. They about to make him Swiss cheese. But of course, Wednesday, he calms it down and he tells them, stop it. But Johan says that he's going through grief because of his band members. And even Wednesday asked him, are you sure that you didn't kill your band members? Because sometimes you go through a little issues where you do kill you black out sometimes, and you do some things, and are you sure you didn't do it? Johan is pissed, and he pretty much stabs a knife through his hand, and he tells Wednesday, no, of course I didn't do it. And Wednesday tells him to go home and sleep it off, and he plays his allegiance to Van Halen and walks off and leaves. And everyone is happy that he's gone, because he was starting a lot of shit in that bar, and it's a motorcycle bar. And even on the side of the bar, it says, welcome to hell. That's interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting, but it says welcome to hell. But then we go back to Mr. World. He has infiltrated into the facility where Belisk is being held captive. And he is trying to talk to Belisk and make her understand, like, yo, what you did. Like, the person that you messed with, you wasn't supposed to do that. And she told him, mind your fucking business. And he was like, okay, all right, you're right. That's neither here nor there. And he's telling her, well, look, I can get you out this situation, but you got to promise, to work with me, with the new God to goddess, work with me. But it's war. And that's all that they're talking about is this war. That's all they want is war. And she's like, no. So he leaves and he turns back in to whoever he was in. And he tells them, if she doesn't give up Sanders, then do whatever she needs to do. So they're trying to pretty much get as much as they can out of her. We cut back to Wednesday. Now, as we know, Wednesday is at this bar. Next thing you know, an explosion happens. Boom! His assistant's car, boom, goes up in the air, and she's like, what the hell? Wednesday, tricky, takes advantage of this. What does he do? He's pretty much the only one that comes out. The motorcycle place explodes. He comes out smoking. He's patting his body, putting the smoke out. He tears off his shirt and pants, runs in the street, butt asshole naked, and saying lyrical lines like, I once told the monkey who shat in my pants not to do it again, or I would hit him in the head with a grape seed of apples. He was saying little slick shit like that. So as he's saying little slick shit like that, you know, his assistant is like, oh my God, I gotta call Shadow. She's calling Shadow. She's like, Shadow, something's wrong with your dad. He's lost his mind. He's crazy. And Shadow is like, okay, well, what's wrong? And she's like, you got to get back here now. Like, he's talking all these rhymes and remix at the top of his head. But see, Wednesday ain't slick. He know exactly what the fuck he's doing. She said, well, he's taken to a special hospital for like crazy people. You know, it's a special hospital, psychiatric hospital. And he's like, that's where he need to be. But see, that's where he was trying to go anyway, to get with Demina, his bride. Remember, there's a rhyme to reason to everything he does. So as he's in the ambulance on his way there, he's steady saying little mimic rims. I once knew an elf, and when you're an elf, you're no taller than 8'7". And you know, she's like, oh my God, he's lost his mind. And he ain't lost his mind. Wednesday always got some shit going. So I'm curious to see what Wednesday has going. So then we cut back to poor little Shadow, and he's trying to find Belisk, and he's telling her, look, I'll deal with him when I get back. And so he on his way. As he's on his way, Belisk is still locked up in the place. She is being tortured through loud music and flashing lights. They're trying to torture. And she's crying. As she's crying, one tear hits and she sees a vision. A vision of glory and beauty. And it's a vision of her. All music stops in her head. And she sees them as Belisk, as the goddess of love and sexuality and virtue that she is. And she stops and she says she remembers herself of who she was before Shiva, before any other gods or goddesses. And who appears before her? No other than the Orisha herself. And she gives Belisk courage. She gives her strength. She gives her endurance. And she reminds Belisk of who she is, what she is, and the goddess inside that she truly is. She tells her to strut and stride and show what she is, who she is, how strong she is. And as she dances in parallel with the goddess of Orisha, they look through the door and they like, oh, we think we broke her. She out there doing her dance, and warriors and goddesses dancing. And she's all in her head in the dance and symbolization of who she is and what she will become and what she will never be. And they think that she done lost her damn man, but she in there doing her thing. Then we cut back to poor little Laura Moon as she hold the ashes of Sweetney in her hand. She carries him with her even in his death. She can't carry him because she's not superhuman as she used to be. But she carries him in the box. And as she leaves the cemetery, she tells the cemetery custodian that, you know, she leaving and she's on her way. She gets so far north and, you know, she hikes a ride and she gets to a truck stop. And she tells, you know, she finds a female truck driver and asks the female truck driver, can she go, you know, how far north she's going? And she's going to Cairo. And we all know who is in Cairo. the scribe. She's on her way to Cairo, Illinois. So we will have to see next time what is happening on American Gods. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you next time on another episode of American Gods.